right, everybody. We are back for another episode. We are the ATOWN Rundown. We are Jeremy and Joey. We are the Miller Lite boys. So when we started this podcast, we started it as a pure football podcast with a strong bias to the Atlanta Falcons. And when we initially started, we were covering every single football game, and that became exhausting. So then we're like, all right, let's just cover, the exciting football games, the highlight reel football games. So we started doing that. But now as we inch further along into this 2025-2026 season, we're inching closer towards the playoffs. So we're like, all right, well, let's dial it down even more, and let's just emphasize on the playoff aspect of it. So that's what we're going to be doing moving forward. We will still cover the Atlanta Falcons, even though anybody in their right mind understands the Atlanta Falcons are not going into the playoffs this year. Yep. But also what we've been doing too, we've been covering the Atlanta Hawks. So recently we've been starting every episode with a little breakdown by Jeremy from the Atlanta Hawks. So we're going to dive into that before we dive into some playoff football. So take it away, Jeremy. Let's learn about the Atlanta Hawks.
All right. Yeah. Atlanta Hawks. So right now sitting at 14-11, they've got a little break till Friday. They last played on Saturday, but no games this week till Friday because of the NBA Cup, and we were eliminated. But the way that works is like when you're not in the NBA Cup and you're not in the tournament anymore, like the NBA schedules you games, and we did not get a great draw on that because here we are, we're playing the Pistons again. Yeah, which sucks. This will be our third time playing them. No,
it's been a very hard matchup against the Pistons. They kind of have our
we played well against them, and which gives makes me feel good. And I think the Pistons, they're also kind of benefiting from like an easier schedule at the beginning of the season. But yeah, so playing them, we haven't beaten them yet. The last game we played, it came down to the last second, and it was one of those games where they start fouling, to stop the clock, and we actually got it with a chance to win it at the end with like 0.4. They were going to have to, at that point you can't. It's not even 0.4. I think it was 0.1 is what they got. They call a timeout with 0.1 left after a missed free throw, and at that point you don't have time for a shot. So what you have to do is throw the ball in at the basket and have someone hopefully tip it in, which is extremely unlikely. But the way they played that game, they played a couple of games like that this season that like they just lost by 1 point, putting themselves in a position like that and not giving up until the end, because you know how these teams are. It's like you get down to like the last 6 seconds and you're up by 4 or whatever. And, the only thing you can do is foul. But teams are normally like, no one ever wins that way. But I don't know. It gave us a shot. So, anyways,
I don't know, dude. I see it happen all the time. I see because if you can get a good guy to the line, dude. I mean, free throw points still count,
and it stops the clock, and that's the biggest thing, you know. And if you have a timeout to get you over to the other side
right now,
go ahead.
In your opinion right now, even though we're still so fucking early in the season, who do you see being like the formidable opponents in the NBA? Like, who do you see us needing to watch out for and needing to really prepare for?
Okay, over in the West, certainly still Oklahoma City Thunder. Who just won the championship. They've also got they're so stacked as far as like what they've done over the last couple of years and trading off Westbrook and they trade Durant, or did he just he left as a free agent? That's right. He went to Golden State.
I will tell you that our producer Tyler is not going to love this jargon because he is a big time Minnesota Timberwolves fan and he absolutely hates Oklahoma City with a passion right now.
And look, I get it because it seems unfair. They have so many top 10 picks, so many top 5 draft picks that they've built their roster out of. And they still have more picks that they get to use that are going to be high draft picks. So I think right now they're looking at like a top 3 like lottery pick right now, which is fucking insane. Yeah,
insane, dude.
Yeah. So and then also I'd say in the East, I don't know. The Cavs are good. Detroit is looking really good. Again, I think that them being this far ahead in the East right now has a lot to do with their schedule, but still a very good team. Wouldn't count out the Celtics yet. Yeah. They're going to have their moment. Milwaukee is awful. A big thing that happened this week, and I'll tell you why this is Hawks news. Giannis Antetokounmpo requested a trade.
I heard about that.
So number one, it's because we have that. It is a pick swap between Milwaukee and New Orleans that we traded for in the draft, and it's unprotected. And New Orleans is the worst team in the league right now. So that bodes well for us. But Milwaukee now, if they trade away Giannis this season, that means that they're certainly going to be in the tank, which then makes that pick even better, and we get the better of the two picks. So they both go into the lottery for the Atlanta Hawks, and whichever one's better, we get to keep.
Yeah, I like those ads.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some ping pong balls in there, and that's gonna be exciting. Who knows, man? Maybe we end up with like a number one pick, and I haven't looked too much about like what the mock drafts are looking like. I mean, it's obviously way too early. I think like once we get to like February, March, we'll start knowing like who's actually worth it, like going into the draft. But yeah, so and the other thing is that there's a lot of people saying that the Hawks could be trade suitors for Giannis.
See, I've heard that too, and I just every bit of me wants that to be true, but I just don't see Giannis coming to Atlanta.
It's a trade. I mean, I think he would, but what do you give up for him?
Have a choice. If it's a trade, he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't see him willingly seeking out Atlanta as the landing spot.
I don't either, and I don't see us giving up what they would want. I mean, because they want They want that pick, that unprotected pick that we got from New Orleans. They want that. Everyone wants that.
They probably want Trey. They probably want that and Trey Young.
They'll want Trey, or they'll want Zachary Risacher, which I think you could get away with. You could put together a package of like a draft pick and Onyeka Okongwu, Kristaps Porzingis,
and see the thing
Zachary Risacher, like
with Antetokounmpo, with Giannis, like anybody you give up, you're still going to benefit from. You're still getting one of the greatest players of our generation. Like you would still get Giannis out of it. And if you ended up with Giannis and Trey Young, that would be fucking amazing. Yeah. And my thing is like, I'm not against it happening. I would love for him to come to Atlanta. I just don't see it happening. And that's all I'm saying.
You know the story about how he was supposed to come to Atlanta, right? I think I've told it on this podcast before.
I don't think so.
The Hawks had a lead on him when he was still overseas, and they were going to draft him, and no one else in the NBA was looking at him. And the only team that he worked out for was the Atlanta Hawks. And then we fired Larry Drew, who was on our coaching staff, and he went to Milwaukee. And before the draft, he said, "You guys got to look at this kid, Giannis." And they had the pick right before us, and we did not see it coming, and they snagged him, and it changed everything. But yeah, I don't see a trade.
That's a very Atlanta thing to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I don't see a trade happening to where the Hawks get Giannis and then also still have Trey Young and Jalen Johnson. Like that would be insane if they did. I would say, hey, bump us to the top of the East if that happened.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening. I think our general manager, like, he's sitting on this pick. I think this pick is too precious for pretty much anyone. There's also people saying that like we could possibly be in talks to make a trade for Anthony Davis. Now that Dallas has fired their GM, I think they're trying to wash their hands of that. I don't know how much I love that. We've already got Kristaps Porzingis, who's equally injury prone.
No, I don't think we need that to happen. No, I'm good on that.
No, I'm with you on that. But yeah, but who knows, man? We'll see. I like Anthony Davis, but it's just at this point in his career and with the injuries and all that stuff, I kind of like, let's keep going where the Hawks are going. We've already got a center that sits on the bench half the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
moving on to that, good Hawks talk.
Yep.
So now let's jump into some playoff football. We're entering the playoffs. We're not at the playoffs, but we're looking at the playoff picture in a broadened sense right now. I guess what we should do is we should start this off how we always do with Thursday Night Football, where you had the Dallas Cowboys who were looking red hot going against the Lions, who were not looking too great, but the Lions did end up winning this game. They ended up winning by a large margin. But I'll tell you, there's a very specific reason why I think the Lions were able to come out on top, and it's simply because of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I think it's because Dallas formulated a game plan thinking that he wasn't going to play. Because when you look at it, by Wednesday and Thursday, every report out of Detroit said that his ankle was still bothering him. He was listed as questionable. He was trending the wrong way. He's more than likely not going to play. So when that happens, you as a defense, you as another team, you completely shift every plan you have. You're like, okay, he's not going to play. So now we got to focus on other people. We got to focus on Gibbs. We got to focus on, Jameson. We got to focus on everybody else. But then what happens is Amon-Ra St. Brown all of a sudden is active. All of a sudden he's going to play. Now he's out there and he's shaking up everything they had. So when he suits up, now Goff has his most trusted guy out there. Gibbs is drawing less coverage because St. Brown is drawing
crazy.
inside attention. And not only that, he did go crazy. He had 6 catches for 92 yards on a sprained fucking ankle because he's just a beast of a fucking man. And you could literally see that Dallas wasn't prepared for him to be out there. And that's really what shifted it into Detroit's hands. And I really do think, with as risky as it really was smart game playing, because at this point in the season, you've got to depend on everything you have. And I've told you before, when Amon-Ra St. Brown is out and you have to solely depend on Gibbs, especially as early in the game as they had to last week, it's not going to work in your favor. I think Dallas was preparing for them to have to be in that same scenario again, but then out comes Amon-Ra St. Brown and your entire game plan is fucking destroyed.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's so much like that. The whole game plan was destroyed because it was still a close game, and Dak Prescott was still shredding Detroit's defense.
He was,
and lucky for Detroit, like their offensive woes are kind of seem like they're going away, but I'm not sure because we've been talking about all season that the Cowboys defense is just ass.
Yeah, I do think in a way it maybe not destroyed in the sense that I said, but it did really shake things up.
Sure.
Because I really do think when you have that caliber of receiver and you're depending on him not to be out there, because when I went over about how much he positively affects Gibbs last week and everything like that, like they really do depend on him to be out there. Like he really is a game changer of a person, and for Detroit,
number one option.
For Detroit, this is just a huge swing game for them. It keeps them right in the wild card fringe division conversation. Yep. Their run game is getting diverse again. You got Gibbs and Monty, the 1-2 punch. And with if this means that Amon-Ra St. Brown is healthy and the Lions can continue to play like this going forward, the playoffs and this second part of the season, this end half of the season, are getting very exciting. And in all honesty, it's a heartbreak for Dallas. My heart really goes out to them because they were on a fucking tear. Yep. I was really expecting to see great things, but this doesn't take them out of it. Doesn't in all honesty, it doesn't change much for Dallas, in my opinion. Dak is still out there playing like an MVP. I still think that Dallas, if they can just string together a few more wins and just pull their heads out of their ass on defense, I see them being able to take the NFC East.
Yeah, man. Especially, I mean, I think the number one factor out of all of that is that the Eagles are slipping and they don't look that good. The offense just, it's not good, man. They're doing the same shit every week, and it never really looks impressive. I could totally. I mean, I would still, if I were betting, I would say like the Eagles probably will win the division. But the Cowboys, I mean, they're right there, man. And you look, and it goes back to that tie against Green Bay, man. If they had that one, if they just had that one, and they almost did,
absolutely.
And whenever we talk about that game, I always remember that it's like Green Bay should have lost that game. They should have. But
absolutely they should have.
Now you have a tie on your record.
Green Bay's
it's like
playing great right now too, though.
Right. Yeah, they are. We'll talk about them a little bit too. But yeah.
But I did want to touch on, like, even though we were saying that, like fucking Dallas's defense is ass, we also got to look at like how bad their line was being. I mean, Dak got sacked 5 times in this game. Dak did throw 2 interceptions and he lost a fumble. Meanwhile, the Lions had 0 turnovers. So there was a lot more than the defense falling apart in this game to go on Dallas's shoulders.
Absolutely. No, you're right about that. Yeah, the takeaways definitely are the difference in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was saying is like, with Detroit's offense and what I've been saying about them the last couple of weeks, it's like doing it against the Cowboys doesn't prove anything to me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, granted, even with Dak having, an MVP level season.
Mm-hmm. I was specifically talking about the Lions offense. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, we agree. We agree. We disagreed there for a second. I thought we were about to break up, but we're okay.
No, never, man. No. The ATOWN must still run down.
But no, moving on. Speaking of heartbreak, like, man, did you watch this fucking Colts? No, I texted you as soon as it happens. The Colts versus Jaguars. The Jaguars absolutely mollywopped the fucking Colts because Daniel Jones leaving the game looks like an Achilles injury that he's going to have to get surgery for. His season's over. Then they bring out their backup, who is Riley Leonard, who plays terrible. He's only got 145 yards and an interception. Then we move into Monday, and he gets evaluated by the team. Turns out he's got a knee injury, so he can't fucking play. You can't play Richardson because he broke his orbital bone. He's got a broken face that happened, during fucking preseason. So he's out for the season because he's got a broken fucking face. So now Indianapolis doesn't have a quarterback. They have somebody they can call up from the practice squad, but instead they call on old Philip fucking Rivers.
Hasn't played since 2020.
Who's been sitting on his couch for 5 years. They call up 40-something-year-old Philip Rivers, who's fucking hanging out on the couch with his fucking 500 kids that he has at home.
That's right.
And they're like, hey, dude, why don't you come unretire? So now, as of today, as of Tuesday, fucking December 12th, 2025, or is it the 12th? Or the 9th?
It's the 9th. It's the 9th.
Of the 9th. Sorry. I was thinking too far in the future.
Nope.
As of December 9th, 2025, the Colts have signed an unretired Philip Rivers to the practice squad, and they're going to try him out to be starting quarterback to try and fix their problems. And they've got a lot because when Daniel Jones went down, I had been saying all this time that Jonathan Taylor cannot carry this team by himself. Daniel Jones, even being Daniel Jones at the caliber of quarterback he is, you do need the dual threat. You do need Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor to work at a team. As soon as Daniel Jones left that game, they bottled up Jonathan Taylor because they knew that's all they had to do. They had a quarterback out there who didn't know how to play quarterback, and they just fucking destroyed Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I really feel for Indianapolis fans right now. And actually, before I get into that, let's say, hey, Trevor Lawrence looks good now. The Jaguars, they're a pretty good team, man. They're a pretty good team.
Yeah,
they're
really
leading their division now. After that win, but with Indianapolis, Daniel Jones having the best year of his career, coming off of an injury like this, who knows when he comes back next year? Which is what it sounds like, right?
Is he going to play at that? He's going to have surgery.
Yeah, is he going to play at that level again? Is he going to turn into Kirk Cousins? And then. Not to mention that the Colts they were going all in this season, man. They traded 2 first-round picks to get Sauce Gardner, who's not playing right now.
Yeah.
So
when he wasn't playing worth a fuck.
He wasn't amazing, yeah, right, for sure. So I don't know if I were the Colts, man. I like you said, heartbroken because they were riding high, dude. They're riding high. I liked the aggressive pick to go and get Sauce Gardner, but 2 firsts is probably too much, but I feel for him. That really sucks. But shout out to the Jags, man.
Yeah, shout out to the Jaguars. They do look good. I think
they've been flying under the radar all season.
They're a team we haven't covered very much. I did put them on the Trouble Watch earlier this year, but it must have fallen on their ears because as soon as they were on the Trouble Watch, they were off the next week and they haven't been back on since.
That's right.
They've been looking really good out there in Jacksonville. You got Etney, who's become a really good running back this season. You got Trevor Lawrence, who just looks like a fucking monster, and their defense has really shown up and come to play right now. It goes back to when you think about that game against the Chiefs, and everyone thought it was just a ha-ha joke, like this is a fluke. They're a real deal team this year. Granted, the Chiefs are not a real deal team this year. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
But we were talking about that game though when it happened, and I think we put Kansas City on Trouble Watch then. If we were doing Trouble Watch back then. They have not come off of it. Yeah, we were like, oh, the Chiefs are back. No, they're not. Chiefs are back. No, they're not.
I think that game was the inaugural mention of the Trouble Watch.
I think it was too. And the main thing with that was my point was you got all these other teams in the AFC that are winning games and they're beating you. And, your division looks like it's out of reach at this point. Even at that point, it was just like, it didn't look like they were gonna have a hard time staying in the wild card. You can't. In the AFC, you can't do that at 500.
Right now, you have a team who hasn't been a real competitor since the mid-'90s, and I'm talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, who is outplaying a team that's been a dynasty for the past 10, 11 years. This could be the first time since 2014 that Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs have not been in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes has never played a season in the NFL without going to the playoffs.
Yeah, that sucks. Now, they're not out yet. But do you want to talk about where they're at right now?
Week,
in the playoff hunt, or do you want to wait till we get to them?
Let's wait till we get to the playoff hunt, because before we get to the playoff hunt, there is somebody I wanted to shout out. Somebody I gave a lot of really bad criticism earlier this season. I feel like he's got a good coach behind him. He went out there and he etched his name in a history book on Sunday. I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders, who had 364 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown on Sunday against the Titans. Yes, I understand it's the Titans, but he's only the second rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl era to do that in history, and the other one is being Joe Burrow. So when your name is right next to Joe Burrow in the history books, you're doing something right. Yeah, you're doing something right. I do think that they can build a good team. I feel like Shedeur Sanders might be the morale boost that the Cleveland Browns needed. And with them, they're going to have good draft picks. They might be able to get some trade capital with him there and what he can do with the team. Granted, once again, this was against the Titans, who are tied for the Raiders and the Giants for the worst team in the NFL. So we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. But if you can see a performance like this out of a rookie and only his 3rd start in the NFL, it is worth getting excited for. It is worth noting, and I do want to give him his flowers. Last Sunday was an incredible performance by Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, man, and we talked about this weeks ago where, and I think I was specifically talking about the Browns, is when they had Dylan Gabriel out there, it's like that doesn't inspire the offense to come out and believe that they can win. But you put out a wild card like Shedeur, that everyone's just like, he's interesting. Let's see what he can do. We saw him in college. Everyone thought he was great. I mean, obviously he had the epic fall in the draft, which kind of wish the Falcons had gone for him at this point. Of course, we would have been laughed at for doing that because we've already got, we already had 2 shitty quarterbacks already that we spent a lot of money on and high draft picks. But we'd be looking good right now. I think that putting him out there, like, the team can get inspired, especially the way that he played. And now they've all seen it. So, seeing is believing, and Shedeur had, he had an okay game, and then he had a really bad game. And this one was really good. Again, it's the Titans. I don't know how much that proves to you, but like, at least we've seen it. We know he's capable of doing this. Now let's see him do it next week.
We know he can beat bad teams because he's beat the Raiders and he's beaten the Titans.
Yep.
He got destroyed by the 49ers, but
most people do.
I mean, right now the Niners are 9-4.
They're not losing, dude. They won't stop winning.
The 49ers are 9-4.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
And one more thing I did want to shout out. Speaking of going into the playoffs, we do have a team that's in the hunt for the wild card, and they looked really fucking good on Sunday as they were able to shut out the Commanders 31-0, I believe, 30-0. But we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings, who J.J. McCarthy went out there and slaying that thing.
Insane,
They did get to the point where Daniels had to leave the game. He took a nasty hit. He was put on concussion protocol, so Marcus Mariota had to come out and take over, and he didn't do a goddamn thing either. But the Vikings went out there, they put in work, and they showed that they really are taking this hunt for the wild card seriously. So hats off to Minnesota. You went out there and did your thing. Good job. You don't often see a shutout in the NFL. You saw one with the Falcons, unfortunately. But I mean, going out there and doing that's fucking cool, man. So good job, Minnesota. Granted, just like I was saying with the Browns, you beat the Commanders, who are 3-10,
banged up. Yeah.
So it's nothing. But a win's a win, and a win like that is a pretty big morale booster, especially when you're looking at an opportunity for the wild card. So good job, Minnesota. That one's for you, Tyler.
And also shout out to our old friend Dan Quinn for making sure that somebody looked worse than the Falcons this week, because the Commanders did.
Hey, man,
you get beat up like that by J.J. McCarthy, man. That's tough.
And that's a team that the Falcons have beat this season too.
That's right.
And I also wanted to point out, so my father-in-law is a big-time Washington fan. Big-time Washington fans. So when we lost to the Jets, he sent me a text message. He's like, "How can you let your team lose to the Jets?" First of all, as if I have something to do with it.
Right.
Second of all,
we've been calling to fire these motherfuckers for 9 weeks, 10 weeks at this point.
Second of all, you're talking about a team that beat your team, and then you go out there and get shut out by the Vikings. So I'm just saying, which also, didn't the Falcons beat the Vikings this season too?
That's right. Yeah. Didn't we sack their quarterback into fucking 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off, maybe longer than that?
So the Falcons are
Tyler.
bad. The Falcons are so bad that they lost to the Jets, but you got shut out by a team that the Falcons beat earlier this season. So I'm just saying.
Yep. What are you
I digress.
Yep.
So moving along, this was a game that I was very excited to see. It was a fucking shootout. It was incredible. Joe Burrow is back to his old self. Unfortunately, he did not win this game. Buffalo pulled out a 39-34 victory against Cincinnati, but it was every bit the shootout you thought it was going to be.
Yep.
Fucking pure soap opera, fucking drama. This game was fucking beautiful start to finish. It was high scoring, quarterback driven game. The Bills offense was humming. Josh Allen was using his feet like a mobile quarterback should. I think he went on a 40-yard touchdown run.
Did. Yeah.
The Bengals offense was moving the ball incredibly, especially between the 20s. There were so many key turning points. A late Bills scoring drive in the fourth flipped the game to anyone's game. Cincinnati's final push fell short. They just couldn't get the last stop or the last touchdown they needed in crunch time, but also penalties and a couple of situational calls on defense hurt the Bengals when it mattered most. And because of that, the Bills were able to win the game, but goddamn, what a good fucking game it was.
Probably the best game all weekend for sure.
Yeah, man.
In the
it
snow.
Was fucking beautiful. Yeah, in the snow. And I love
it's
those
snow
games.
football season. Hell yeah, man. Always love those. I don't know what it is, man, but like if I'm flipping through the channels or if I'm like at a bar or something and there's, teams playing that I don't root for, there is a 20% more of a chance that I'm going to pay attention to this game if it's in the snow. I don't know what it is. Like football in the snow is just so fucking cool.
Absolutely.
Man.
And I'll tell you, if I've said this, and everybody in my close circle knows, if I'm not cheering for the Falcons, I am actively cheering for the Buffalo Bills. 100%. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is. We're on opposite sides of the coast. I think literally
because you're a big Every Time I Die fan, and they're from Buffalo.
That's what started it. But then I actually got into Buffalo. Like I started following, and there was a moment in the past 10 years that you know very well that the Falcons just became so disappointing that I was like, well, I like football. The playoffs are here. Let me pick a team to cheer for, and it's always been Buffalo.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Look, they've had a rough one as far as like, the 4 straight Super Bowl losses and all that. I went on tour with a guy who was a big Buffalo fan. I was like, you know what? I respect that.
But that's what I've said on this podcast before.
I think he's he's Canadian.
Is like being a Bills fan is almost as disappointing as being a Falcons fan because the Bills always make it within an inch of getting there and then lose out every year. Whereas the Falcons, you just know like, hey, we're not making the playoffs this year. Fuck it, let's go drink, Yeah,
we're in hell.
But
we'll get to that.
Speaking of Buffalo, Allen had 251 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. He had that 40-yard rushing touchdown. You had Christian Benford, who had that fucking 63-yard interception that was returned for a pick 6. Mm-hmm. So they were doing everything they had to out there. Joe Burrow looked good. Joe Burrow, 284 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. Not a bad stat line, especially when you're coming off a fucking injury that had you sidelined for damn near the entire season.
Right.
You had T. Higgins, who had 2 touchdowns. You had Chase Brown, the running back, who had a rushing touchdown. So like I said, like, this was a game that was anybody's game, and it just ultimately ended up, one mistake here and there. It really is what cost you here. But dude, what a fucking glorious football game! Like that is a textbook football game right there, dude, and I loved it.
Yeah, great quarterback matchup. Love to see that shit. Great game in the snow. It wasn't a game where they're just running the ball in the snow. It's like hell no, they were fucking slinging it.
Another game that I loved watching because I love when I prove myself right. Because when are you Chicago Bears fans going to listen to me when I tell you Caleb Williams is not the reason you guys are where you are, and he could not have proved that any more than he proved it on Sunday. When you guys are in a situation where you need to score a touchdown, you have to score a touchdown. You're at 4th and 2. He hikes the ball. You see your running back come out this way. He passes the line of scrimmage. He's got his back turned to the defense. 3 about him, nobody in front of him. He's wide open with his hands like this. The only way for them to interrupt this pass is to get pass interference. He is wide open. But instead of passing it to him and getting the easy, automatic first down, Caleb Williams throws the ball into the end zone. And what happens? One of the easiest interceptions I've ever seen. And there goes the fucking football game.
Yeah, it was bad. And I agree with you. Caleb Williams is not the reason that they're winning. It's what I said last week is the offensive line and defensive line. They're so good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always going to give them a chance.
Literally, so fucking good.
Yeah.
And it comes to the point where like you have good coaching, you have an all-star team built around you. And I think it's just proving that when it comes to situational football, when it comes to putting the ball in your own hand, like, don't get me wrong. Like if I'm Caleb Williams and I see somebody in the end zone, I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to go for it. But that's why I don't play quarterback in the NFL.
He was rolling out to his left too, wasn't he? Maybe he didn't.
Yeah, he was rolling out to his left.
Okay.
And it's one of those situations where like, I get it. I understand what you're doing. But you need to learn a little bit more that now's not the time to do it, because that guy's in man-to-man coverage. This guy's in zone. This guy's wide open. That guy, if you look at it from above, there was about a 6-foot gap in between the defender and the receiver. So he had all the space in the world to jump up and grab that ball. That is not where you put the ball in that moment at all. And it's just a situational football thing. It's a decision-making football thing that he's going to have to learn on the way. I don't put that on coaching. I really think that was Caleb's decision to do right there. And that's one of those like live and learn things. Now, granted,
seems like he made up his mind and kind of stuck with it when he should have explored options.
And now, if you're a Chicago fan, don't let this deter you. You guys are still sitting pretty. You know, I think they're tied with Green Bay for first at this point, right? Aren't they?
No, I think Green Bay has one more win over them. I think they have one more win.
So you're only one game behind Green Bay.
Bears got 8 wins, and Green Bay has 9.
I think it's 9 and 10 now.
Let's see. Nope. Packers are 9-3-1, and Bears are 9-4.
Okay.
So it's a half game difference.
It's that tie.
Yep.
It's that fucking tie.
That fucking tie, man. And it's. I've been saying it all year. Like, that is going to have some implications at some point in the season.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, as a Bears fan, don't let this. I really think what'll happen is I think they're going to go to the drawing board. I think this may, in a way, have humbled Caleb Williams. He's really got to listen to his coaching, because I know Ben Johnson probably told him, throw it to your fucking running back. That's what you do.
Sure.
Throw it to your running back.
I'm sure they're talking about that all day.
Run out of fucking bounds. Stop the fucking clock. Because at the thing is, like, you had to, because I also see where he's coming from, because at the point, like, you had to score a touchdown there, because a field goal is not going to win you the game. Like, you can't just keep going and get a field goal. You have to score a touchdown there. But there's ways you could have did it. You have to use the clock. They've been the best clock management team this entire season. So right there was your moment. Get it to the running back, run out of bounds, stop the clock. There's so many things that could have happened. I know they're at the drawing board. I know that Caleb Williams probably feels like a piece of shit because of this, but it just goes back to, like, you guys are not winning because of him, and he does still have a lot of growing to do. But I honestly feel like, as a young quarterback, as a growing quarterback, he could not be in a better situation than he is being on this Chicago Bears team with this coaching staff.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I think the Bears are going to be all right. The Packers, I think that tie is going to come back to bite them in the ass. Although I do think the Packers are a good team. Bears, right now, you're not leading the division anymore. You're down by half a game, but still in the wild card. That division is stacked, man. The Lions, the Bears, really and the Packers. And then, Minnesota, I don't really think they're going to do anything, but, like, they're technically in the hunt still too. Yeah,
exactly.
So, scary division. That's for sure. Whoever wins that division, and depending on where they end up in the seeding, because I think right now the Rams are back in the number 1 seed spot. But if they were to get, let's say Chicago were to get back to number 1, and then the playoffs run through Chicago or running through Green Bay, that's going to be tough for everybody in the NFC.
Absolutely.
Because those fans come out, Chicago and Green Bay, and it's cold.
And it's funny.
They have a clear home field advantage. That would be scary.
It's funny how much like much like the tides turn, how the turntables. Green Bay started out, and I was calling them the best team in the NFL, and then I was calling them a shitty team. Now, once again, they're one of the best teams in the NFL, and we're sniffing crazy at the playoffs right now. So. Yeah,
and look, things can change. We've still got games left, like, things can definitely change. And it's like now, we're talking about, like, the show's going to focus to more talk about, like, who's going to be in the playoffs and stuff. But it's like, this is still the first week that we can really talk about that, because it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And,
because we're still not with how everybody's record is, with how insane the stat lines have been this year. We still have not reached a now or never situation.
No. And we also don't have, like, a clear front runner anywhere. I mean, like, maybe in the NFC. Like, I mean, I feel like the Broncos, the Rams, maybe. But, like, think about this. So what I just said about Chicago and Green Bay, about if they were to get home field, like, that's scary. But if the Rams got the number 1 seed and you had to go through LA, that's not that scary. I mean, the Rams are good, but, like, when it comes to like home field implications, like that's LA's fans are not real. The Rams hadn't been there for very long, like since they got back from St. Louis. And dude, have you ever been to LA? It's Laker town. That's it. They don't give a shit about anything else. I mean, and I guess the Dodgers.
I've never been to Los Angeles, California, and
I have.
There's
beautiful place.
There's only one part of me that intends to go there, and that's just to see my buddy Joseph Calero, and that's about it.
Hey, shout out Joseph Calero.
There's
South Side homies.
Yeah, I've never been to Los Angeles. I don't owe anybody any money out there, so I don't really have any reason to go.
All right, well, hey, I went out there. It was a lot of fun back when I was a young buck. But yeah, I guess my point is like the home field advantage for the Rams is bleh.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So moving on, this game, I love to see it. I love to see the mighty fall. Jalen Hurts out there, fucking 240 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 fucking interceptions. This is a game where he also became the first player since at least 1978 to turn the ball over twice in the same play. How did that happen, you ask?
Well, that was funny, yeah.
Well, he threw an interception, then the guy who intercepted it fumbled. So then Jalen Hurts recovered the fumble and then got it knocked out of his hand and fumbled the ball. So 2 turnovers in the same play.
And then put the other team in a better position after all that. Versus just it getting it intercepted. It's like he ended up going backwards and then loses it again. Not good.
On top of that, speaking how the mighty will fall, they only scored 1 actual touchdown in this game. They scored 19 points, so it was 1 touchdown and 4 field goals to give them 19 points. Jalen Hurts didn't do jack shit, but guess how they scored that 1 touchdown? It was on a fake tush push with a handoff to Saquon Barkley.
Okay,
running.
I saw that. Yeah. Yep.
So now you guys are so addicted to the tush push that you got to run fake tush push plays.
Right.
But Justin Herbert looked good. Mm-hmm. You know, he was playing with a broken hand, and he still went out there and did 12 for 26, 139 passing yards, which those numbers aren't high, but it's because he's got a broken fucking hand and he has to rely on the other guys on the field to fucking
26
help him
total
win the
passes.
Game.
That's not a lot.
Yeah. But he also had 66 of his own rushing yards, and he had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 1 interception sucks, but it's still a whole lot less than 4 interceptions and 0 touchdowns.
I agree.
So now we're starting to see it's weird how the mighty fall, because I don't see the Chiefs or the Eagles being the team we thought they were going to be or the team they're supposed to be this season. Granted, the Eagles do still sit on top of their division, but the Cowboys are chomping at the bit. And if the Cowboys can get their act together, they're going to take that away from the Eagles.
I would love to see that. I really would love to see that. Not that I got love for the Cowboys or anything, but the Eagles are just not that impressive to me. They're just not. Yeah. I think a lot of these games that they've won, they've barely scooted through it. You know, I thought the Buccaneers should have beat them earlier in the season.
Me too.
Just because they straight up go to sleep in the second half.
The Buccaneers are not looking hot right now.
No. And man, talking about Baker Mayfield and the MVP, leading the MVP race. So it seems like it was 5 years ago.
I really, really thought it was going to happen, dude. I really fucking did.
No, I honestly think Carolina has a real shot to win this division now.
All right,
because they're going to play, and you know, maybe the Falcons will help them out when we play the Bucs this Thursday. Don't get your hopes up, but don't get your hopes up, Panthers. Yeah. I don't know. If I were the Bucs, I'd be afraid of that trouble watch list, man.
Well, let's jump back into that. Let's dive into the divisions right now. So since we are talking about the playoff run, let's take a look at what the standings are. Let's take a look at who's leading the divisions. Yep. I'm going to hand that off to you, because when it comes to stats, when it comes to win lines, when it comes to numbers and everything, you've always been my go-to guy. Let's break down these NFL standings together. Let's go ahead and start with let's start in the AFC. Let's start in the AFC East, because you know right now you got the Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, and Jets, who I think even the Dolphins are playing better than anyone thought they would. The Dolphins actually have the same record as the Chiefs right now, which is astounding.
Interesting. Yeah. Like, man, I mean, 2 months ago, we were talking about how the Dolphins were one of the worst teams in the league. And it's like, for them to have the same record as the Chiefs is just mind blowing. But yeah, AFC East, we've got the Patriots leading it. That's, hell of a division, because you've also got the Bills in there. The Bills are in the wild card right now, and they're 9-4, but the Patriots sitting at 11-2. I mean, they're starting to run away with it. I don't really have any hope for the Bills to win that division. Then you've got in the AFC West, you got the Broncos leading the division. They're killing it. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. And then AFC South, you've got the Jaguars, who, came in under the radar.
They look amazing.
They look great right now. They look great. They're sitting at 9-4, 97% chance to make the playoffs.
Speaking of the Jaguars, I just want to say their records are impressive when you look at this. Home, they're 5-2, and away, they're 4-2. So they're good. They're good at home and away. Like they're not playing to any disadvantage right now.
And right now, they would be hosting a playoff game. So if you win your division, you get to host a playoff game, and that's kind of the main reason to win your division. That's the biggest perk.
Absolutely.
So someone's going to have to come to Jacksonville. Not that Jacksonville is like a hard place to play. Even though for my band, it was a very hard place to play earlier this year. But that's a different story.
I mean, right now, Jacksonville weather is really nice too, because it's cold everywhere but there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I played there in January of this year, and it was pretty nice. Then we've got AFC North. We've got the Steelers, 7-6. Of course, the Ravens, 6-7. Who they just beat the Ravens. Ravens still got a chance to get in there. I don't think they have much of a shot at the wild card, but. And then you've got.
I never would have thought that the Steelers would be leading the AFC North this year at all.
Me either. And I think more of what I'm starting to realize about the Ravens is Lamar is not himself right now.
Yeah,
he's clearly not himself right now.
I also think the reason the Steelers are where they are right now, it isn't because of them playing the Bengals, but it's because the Bengals didn't have Joe Burrow for as long as they didn't.
Right.
Honestly, the Bengals being at 4-9 is just because Joe Burrow missed almost the entire season.
Right, and although I do think that the Bengals have a lot of holes they got to figure out. That defense has got to get better. That offensive line's got to get better. But those are things I think they should be doing in the offseason. And I mean, if they do it right.
It's kind of easy to say that the reason Joe Burrow was hurt is because of the holes they have, though.
Absolutely. You got to protect that quarterback, man. Like you've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. One of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a long time, man. Like you have to protect that guy.
I know that's that I've thrown this term around before, but when I say it, I mean it, because there's 32 teams right now. So that means there's 32 people that I can say this about. But like Joe Burrow, as far as our generation, as far as us in our lifetime, Joe Burrow's going to be one of the best we've seen. He's going to be one of the top 20, maybe 30 quarterbacks we see in our lifetime. He truly is.
I can see that. But all right, and then we've got in the wild card in the AFC, you got 3 spots. You got the Chargers at 9-4. You got the Bills. Yeah, you got the Bills at 9-4, who they've come back to life. A couple of questionable losses throughout the season, but 96% chance.
To the Falcons.
One being to the Falcons. Boy, we thought we were good after that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And then you've got a team.
I was dancing in the streets, baby.
Hell yeah, a team that I'm starting to really pay attention to, the Texans.
Yes.
They've got the last wild card spot at 8-5, and then them beating the Chiefs was awesome. I mean, the Texans defense is so legit, man. And it's like if they could get an offense to complement that, like they could be a really scary team.
And as shitty as it may sound, I start to lean like I do think CJ Stroud, he's very talented. He's a great young stud, but he's almost in the same boat with me as what I say about Chicago is the Texans are not winning these games because of CJ Stroud. They're winning these games because of the team.
Yeah, and specifically to me, that defense, like they're legit as hell. And dude, let's talk about that division, man. The AFC South. So you got the Jaguars leading, then you got the Texans in second at 8-5, then you've got the Colts at 8-5, sitting outside of the playoffs right now, which is crazy. Which
However,
also brings me.
I do not think the Colts are going to be tied with the Texans for very much longer. I don't either.
No, with this Daniel Jones stuff, and I love Phillip Rivers, and he's from that class of quarterbacks that you and I grew up watching, the Eli Mannings, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees,
best
Peyton
trash
Manning,
talker of all time, dude.
Yeah, oh, dude, he is the shit. Oh yeah, dude, I actually saw like a little compilation of doing that. No, he doesn't. But he does rub it in your face. So what we have on the bubble here is you got Colts 8-5. Now, depending on what the Texans do, they maybe they make it back in, but I'm starting to think they're not going to make it. You got the Ravens at 6-7. I don't think they really have a good shot at the wild card, just because like the Bills and the Texans and the Chargers all have such good records. And then you've got the Chiefs, 6-7. I'm going to say they're not going to make it this year. Right now, they have an 11% chance to make the playoffs.
Okay.
So,
all right. So let's move on to the NFC, dude.
let's
Leading
do
the
some
NFC
NFC
right now, it looked the two teams leading the NFC are the Rams at 10-3 and the Seahawks at 10-3, which we have not mentioned the Seahawks at all this entire season. And good Lord, they look amazing. Their away record is 6-1. Their away record's better than their home record at 4-2.
Yep.
But then when you look at the Rams, they're 5-1 at home and 5-2 away. So both those teams are on fire right now.
Yeah, man. And and actually the way that is so they have the two best records in the NFC right now, but Seahawks are the 5th seed right now because the Rams are leading the division. So, but I mean, they're tied for the same record. So Seahawks next week could end up being the number 1 seed in the NFC. They really could. Now, Seahawks fans, don't get too excited. You beat, the sorriest fucking franchise in the league right now. And we'll get to that later. But
well, when you look at the numbers, it's kind of astounding that there are teams in the NFC worse than the Falcons. But that would be the Giants at 2-11. That would be the Saints at 3-10, and that would be the Cardinals at 3-10. Every other team in the NFC has a better record than the Falcons, besides those 3 teams.
And the Commanders.
The Commanders, they're also 3-10. Okay.
Yep. So in the NFC, so we've got number 1 seed is the Rams. 10-3, which they've been sitting at number 1. Then Bears stole it last week, and now Rams are back on top since the Bears lost to the Packers. You got the Packers number 2, 9-3-1, NFC North. Eagles leading the NFC East, but we've talked about that. They're not that impressive, and Cowboys could potentially take it.
I kind of think it's bullshit that a tie gives you a half game. I feel like a tie
hurts you.
I feel like a tie in standings should count as it shouldn't be a blip on. It shouldn't be a half game or anything because it shouldn't be a documented win or loss either way. It shouldn't even count towards your standings because it's a fucking tie.
Right, but I think that's going to hurt the Packers. I really do. I think it's going to hurt the Packers in their division because it's so tight right now. But so then we've got the NFC South, Buccaneers 7-6.
They're holding on for dear life.
They're holding on, man. Yeah, because the Panthers, man, and they're going to play the Panthers soon. So
because
I think that's going to be interesting.
Started this season, they should be clear victors in the fucking NFC South.
They looked like they were going to be. They were going to be top of the NFC.
They're dwindling away.
They are.
Yeah, they're dwindling away, dude.
They've had bad injuries. Baker's not looking like he was 2 months ago.
I honestly feel like Baker's playing hurt, and they're just
I do too.
Forcing him to play. Not forcing him to play, but allowing him to play.
Well, yeah, I was about to say he's probably forced himself to play, knowing him, but. Then you've got the wild card for the NFC, Seahawks at 10-3. Then you got the 49ers, who I feel like we're not talking about enough like this season. Like they're 9-4.
Yeah, because they fucking demolished us out there in San Francisco, and I don't want to talk about them.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that game either. And then we've got the Bears, who went from the number 1 seed, dropped 6 spots down to number 7. The 9-4 Bears.
Fucking standings bullshit right there.
Well, it is, but this is all based on wins and losses, man. This is no committee bullshit, none of that. So it's just the fact that like. Everyone in the wild card race has, they have a lot of wins. And it's funny because you look at the Buccaneers who are 7-6, like they potentially could win this division with a losing record. And then, like they'll host a team like the Niners or someone like that.
Yeah. And they're going to go out there and get castrated in the fucking playoffs, dude.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. They're kind of, they're clinging on and hanging on for dear life in that spot, I should say. In the hunt though, you've got the Lions 8-5. We talked about that division, how tough it is. But 8-5, they can definitely get in there.
And not to cut you off, but I think going back to teams like the Buccaneers and stuff, I think you kind of get caught in this limbo situation where like you played so good up to a point and now it's too late in the season to tank. So now you really do have to put your best foot forward, even though you're tired and you're beaten up and you're exhausted and know you're not going to make it very far in the playoffs, but you're already sitting at the top of your division. So if you tank, your draft prospect isn't going to be that great. So it's kind of like
you'll be in purgatory.
Yeah, your hand is forced to keep giving it all you got, even though you ain't got no gas left in the fucking tank, dude.
Absolutely, yeah. But you got the Lions, who I'm actually a little worried about the Lions because now they're only 1 win behind the Bears, but I mean, snagging one of these top spots, I mean, because the Seahawks are doing so good, and like either them or the Rams are going to take that division, so someone's going to get that first wild card spot, whether that's the Rams or the Seahawks. That's for sure. I have no doubt about that. And then the Niners, they keep winning. They're not losing games. I don't see them. They got a 90% chance to make the playoffs. The Bears, I think, being in that division in the NFC North, is going to be tough on somebody. Now, I do think that we definitely will get 2 teams in the playoffs from that division. It's just, is it going to be the Bears? Is it going to be the Lions? Is it going to be the Packers? Because all 3 of them could flip flop at this point.
Yeah.
And then you've got Panthers in the hunt, but not so much for the wild card. They're 7-6. I don't see them really catching up to knock off the Bears or the Lions or the Niners, but they can win this division.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's likely. And then you've also got the Cowboys. Again, same thing. Don't see them getting into the wild card. They're 6-1, but they could potentially win that division. And I know it might sound crazy if you're just looking at the Eagles being 8-5. It's just I don't think the Eagles are very good.
That's a lot of thing too, is people got to get out of their heads who the Eagles are, because the Eagles do not have that same identity that they had last year. No. They're not that same fucking team. Now, there are teams like the Cowboys who really are putting their best foot forward, who are really trying, who are out there playing good football. And I think if the Eagles keep fucking up the way they are right now, the Cowboys are going to take the top spot from them. I truly see that happening.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be the Commanders and it's not going to be the Giants, not in their division.
No, and I mean, those teams are eliminated now anyways. Oh, yeah, and now we can talk about teams that have been eliminated, and I'll go ahead and tell you what they are. You've got the Jets are eliminated, Falcons. The Browns, Raiders, Titans, Falcons, Cardinals, Saints, Commanders, Giants.
So now, for listeners, that means that those teams have absolutely zero chance.
There is no scenario that they can make it in, no.
So that means it is tank time for those teams who can do it, except for the Falcons, because they traded their first-round pick away.
That's right. Yeah, which sucks. But you know what? We'll talk about that situation.
We're going to get into that. So, with the playoff picture away, with all that done, it is now for Jeremy and I to jump into one of our favorite topics of discussion, and that is the weekly Trouble Watch. So, I'm going to start this week's Trouble Watch, and who I got up first is a team that I've been beaten to death this episode, and that would be the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. So technically right now they're on top of the NFC East, but the cushion is evaporating fast. Dallas is lurking, like I've been saying, and if the Cowboys stop tripping over their own shoelaces for 2 weeks straight, the division is going to flip. There's offensive inconsistency. The pass game is regressing. They got a banged up roster, and their fucking momentum is completely dead. They have 3 straight losses in late season, and that's basically putting gasoline on a fucking fire. You got to figure something out, and they're in trouble. And if Dallas strings together anything that's just competent, boom, the Eagles aren't in trouble. They're in danger of coughing up the division entirely.
Yep, they're definitely on the trouble watch for me. And just because, I just don't – that offense isn't good. I don't think they've looked that fluid at all this season. I mean, they got the championship. That's great. But, not a lot of impressive wins from them this season. Yeah. And Dak Prescott playing the way he is, he can – it's definitely – it can happen.
I've never seen somebody play with as much passion as he's playing right now. Like, he wants to win so fucking badly. Yeah. Because you got to think of everything he's gone through. He's gone through the Zeke. He's gone through so many players have come and gone for him. And he's continued to just be like a joke in the NFL where people make memes about him and everything else. And he just wants so badly to prove everyone wrong. And he's proven us wrong this season. But it's like, you got to wonder, is it going to be enough? And the thing is, if the Eagles keep playing like this, it probably can be enough.
Yeah, but let's say the Cowboys do make it. Like, what are they going to do in the playoffs, man? Like, they might give us an exciting game, depending on who they go up against. But that defense I'm not sure how far they can get once they get there.
Yeah. So up next on the Trouble Watch, I got the Kansas City Chiefs, and this is the ugliest the Chiefs have looked in the Mahomes era. I've told you this could be the first time since Mahomes has played in the NFL that they do not make the playoffs, and I honestly could see that happening. If they make the playoffs, they're also entering as a team that might get immediately bounced out. So they have a huge identity crisis, don't know what's going on with them, and I honestly don't see them bouncing back.
I don't either, man. And like what I was saying, we were looking at the playoff picture. It's just with the Bills being up there and the Colts having a much better record. Like, there's so many teams they're going to have to jump to get in there. And right now, what did I say? It was like 11% chance for them to make the playoffs. That is not good. I really think that this Texans game was kind of the one that ended their hopes.
Yeah. Up next, we got the Colts. I don't think there's much explaining to that. They are in quarterback purgatory right now. I don't think Phillip Rivers is going to bail them out. He might be enough of a distraction.
He may not even make the team, dude. He's practice squad.
Yeah. And on top of that, if he does make the team, I think he could be enough of a distraction to put in some solid work with Jonathan Taylor, which could be enough to etch them into the playoffs. I think their season's pretty much done, buddy.
Yeah, and if the Texans keep playing the way that they are, then I don't think they have a chance.
Yeah. And then we're going to end it with the Baltimore Ravens. And it's because for a second, their vibes were immaculate. They went on a 5-game winning streak. And then all of a sudden, everything comes to a screeching halt. And you can see their playoffs hopes dwindling. They got to do everything they can to stay alive right now. Their offense is slowing down. Lamar's not playing as himself. I think there's a lot of things going on in between the ears for him. But whatever's going on, it really is crunch time for Baltimore right now if they want to have any hopes to going into the postseason.
Yeah, and I may be mistaken on this, but I think they get to play the Steelers one more time.
I think so, too.
So, like, that to me is like, well, that's your path to making it to the playoffs. Because making it in the wild card is not going to happen. Buffalo's already they've secured a spot. I don't think that they're going to win the division because I think the Patriots they're not going to let go of their lead. And then again the Texans if they don't win that division they don't really have a shot.
Yeah. So I'm ready if you are. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to crack open an ice cold Miller Lite, and we are going to talk about this disaster of a game.
It's funny at this point, dude. It's funny now.
That happened.
That's what I keep telling myself.
At the hands of the Seattle Seahawks against our Atlanta Falcons, where for a minute, up until halftime, everything looked okay.
Yeah.
It was 6-6. We go in there and we're thinking, we have a chance, but then what happens? We come back out after halftime, a 100-yard kick return touchdown to open up the third. Sam Darnold's on fire. Sam Darnold's looking like fucking Peyton Manning out there, throwing 3 touchdown passes after the break. Sam Darnold had 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Then let's see what we had on the Falcons side. Oh, not shit. Kirk Cousins, 50% passing, 15 for 30, 162 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bijan got bottled up. Bijan lost a fumble. Bijan only had 86 yards. Tyler Algier only had 34 yards. Kyle Pitts actually looked good for fucking once.
Yeah.
He had 6 catches for 90 yards on 10 targets.
His best game.
Yeah, dude. He was,
picked a hell of a time to fucking turn it on, huh?
I mean, but then you had Darnell Mooney, 1 for 6. Devin Tompkins, 1 for 4. Bijan, 2 for 8. Dylan Drummond, 3 for 21.
Who are these people?
Exactly.
Who are these people?
Exactly. So it's getting to the point where,
shout out Ray, man. We miss you.
We miss you, Ray, because you know what? We need you. We need you. So I say we fire Raheem and apologize to Ray and get him back on the fucking team.
Yeah. You know what?
What has to happen first?
I'll let Ray fucking run this team.
But what has to happen first is Ray, I need you to retire so that we can unretire you, because what I've learned this season is you can't make any trades after the trade deadline, but you can call someone who's sitting on the couch and get them to unretire and sign them to the fucking team.
Yes.
Makes no fucking sense to me.
Yes.
Makes 0 goddamn sense.
That's true. Yeah. You can sign free agents at any point. But trade deadline ends. When did it end? Fucking October or something. But with this team, man, I'm running out of shit to say because I'm saying the same shit every week. Like nothing is going to change until we get rid of this coaching staff. And Marquise Williams, our special teams coordinator, week after week after week, we lose these games. And it's like, now this one was bad. And so you can't just say it was special teams, but God, it was the biggest.
It was bad all around.
But the biggest reason is the special teams. I don't understand it. You had a blocked kick, and dude, when I was watching it, you could see it when they lined up. The guy on the outside that's rushing to get to your kicker is your number 1 assignment. And they didn't have anybody even fucking looking at him. And I saw it right there. I was like, oh, this already doesn't look good. And they took and it was slow too. Like they snap it, and Zane Gonzalez is kind of still standing there. It's just like, I saw it all happening like right before it happened. That's completely unacceptable. And then with the coming out of halftime and just giving up a full field touchdown on the kickoff. This kind of shit's got to stop happening. The special teams has put this team in so many bad positions throughout this season. That Colts game, it happened, which probably cost us the game. Not to mention, and when we're talking about special teams, we have to talk about the kickers this year. Zane Gonzalez has been the best one out of all three, but holy shit, like those guys have lost us games. And we have the worst special teams in the league. Why are you at week 15 and this motherfucker still has a job? Yeah. I'm done bitching about Zach Robinson, and I don't like his offense still, but at least he has made a change. Okay, Kirk Cousins is coming out under center all the time now, and when I see it, I'm like, God damn,
but
man,
it's still not working. It's
not. It's not enough. And I'm not going to put all that on Kirk, and I don't think Kirk is a great quarterback anymore, and I don't think he has been since he tore his Achilles in Minnesota. I mean, we've seen that. I've seen enough of him to know that. But dude, we have no wide receivers. That's
the point I was going to make.
Darnell Mooney was getting hit on the hands.
When you go out there and you say, who are these guys? Who the fuck are these guys? We have to fix the wide receiver room. Sorry to cut you off. Darnell Mooney out there, being a piece of shit.
How about that one play they throw to Darnell? Nice pass from Kirk Cousins, but Darnell, he goes out of bounds for a second. He comes back in, catches the ball, and goes in for the touchdown. And then they call it back and say it was incomplete because he came back in bounds and he didn't have 2 feet down. And
does he not know the rules of the game?
Well, here's the thing. He was well within the rules. And the worst game manager in the NFL, Raheem Morris, did not challenge the call. Challenge the fucking call. That was a touchdown. Would it have mattered? I don't know. But
I don't know. It looked like he did, but I digress.
No, it definitely, it was legal. That should have been a touchdown. And Raheem did not challenge it, which is stupid.
But also, there's several things that we've talked about this year that Raheem refuses. Like, it's like, the thing is, it's like, you don't want to use these challenges because you want to act like you're so good at fucking clock management, but you're not.
God, he's so bad, yeah.
And when you obviously need to use it, like when fucking, remember I told you when Penix got drilled and it was roughing the passer, clearly roughing the passer?
Yeah.
No challenge. There's been blatant pass interference calls. He never fucking challenges. This play that you're saying, like, I mean, I'll side with you on this. You're saying he should have challenged it.
Yeah.
He should have challenged it. I'll have to
well,
look
the
back
pass
and
interference you can't challenge anymore. They changed that rule back. And then you can't challenge roughing the passer either.
You can't challenge fucking drilling the fuck out of the quarterback after the ball's left his hands.
That's gotta be
fucking stupid.
It's gotta be called first. Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yep. Yeah, it's gotta be called. And I don't think the other team can review it. Like, say they do throw the flag on that. I don't think it's reviewable. Which is dumb. It's dumb as hell. But yeah, man, I mean, with Mooney can't catch a ball right now. Every other receiver, like, who the fuck are these guys? We're completely depleted in the wide receiver room. We have been. And, you fired your wide receiver coach who now you got TJ Yates out there dealing with fucking plumbers and volunteer firefighters out there playing for the Falcons. But yeah, man, I mean, like, Kirk looked okay at times, but like, he's got nobody to throw to. And, the defense didn't even look that great. First half they did, but I think there's more of the Seahawks just weren't really turning it on yet. But when they came out in that second half and the special teams gave up that touchdown, I was just like, they're like, oh, hell yeah, let's go win this game. And they did. They beat our ass after that. They completely beat our ass after that. And, you cannot – I don't know what Arthur Blank is thinking because here we are on Tuesday recording this, and every single one of these coaches is still employed. And I want to read you a quote from Torrey McElhaney got from Raheem Morris that's going to fucking piss you off, dude. This is so frustrating to me. Raheem Morris said, coaching changes are irrelevant right now, and there are things that the Falcons will continue to evaluate over the next 4 weeks of the season. It's irrelevant right now. No, motherfucker, you're irrelevant.
Yeah, it's irrelevant because you're about to lose your job. And the thing that I'm trying to get
at is he just wants to keep the homies employed. He hired a bunch of bum-ass coaches.
What do we even do at this point, though? Because you can't tank because you gave your first round pick away. You're
and our fifth round.
Everybody on your team beat up. Yeah, everybody's hurt. Everybody's morale is gone. You keep holding on to this bum ass coach. Like, what are we doing for the rest of the season? This is fucking depressing to watch.
And also, he started to kind of like put the blame on the players and almost never putting the blame on the coaches. I mean, I'm not going to say almost never. He never does. He never does. No. It's all about the players. And he even said something about like, yeah, well, you know, if people don't do certain things at practice, they're not going to play on Thursday. So we might see, just like Kaderil Hodge didn't play last week. And it was a coach's decision. He was a healthy scratch and, you know, ended up really could have helped us as a wide receiver in a game that we should have won against the Jets. So we could see maybe Kirk Cousins gets benched. I doubt it, but like, you know,
no,
if someone like Algier doesn't play against the Bucs and like you were saying, you know, like this isn't like a tankable season. Now you could, I saw someone say like John Fricky or somebody 929 was saying like, you know, well, maybe you should still tank so that you can get a better second, third, and fourth round pick. And that's all we've got next year. I'm not really, but I will say this. If the Falcons have any hopes of wanting to do anything over the next 3 years, you have to hit on all three of those picks.
And see, that's the thing too. I've said that like there's been plenty of quarterbacks who played decent in the league who were second round pick, even wide receivers and stuff, and even running backs. Even though we don't need them, there's been plenty of good players drafted. Because
Algier's going to be gone next year.
Yeah, like I was saying last week. You know, there's 32 teams in the NFL. Pick 33 ain't that bad. It's not a bad pick. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely not. And so you could potentially like tank for that.
Yeah,
but you know, think about this, dude. I keep hearing people say this, and it seems like such a likely scenario. Fucking Algier and Pitts leave, go join the Chiefs, and then have Hall of Fame careers. Would that shock you?
No, it's true.
Would that shock you?
The thing is, as much as I love Algier should be a starting running back. Algier should be RB1. He absolutely deserves it. It's just like when we had Freeman and Coleman, I couldn't tell you who the starters should be because they were both equally as good.
They were both great.
You know,
and they brought different things.
People will give me shit because it's like, oh, well, you can't say Algier's as good as Bijan. And I'm like, they're two completely different style playing running backs who are just as good as each other in the style that they play in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love Algier's style. The fucking bowling ball is what I call him.
Algier is my style running back. He is.
Sure.
I don't like the flash.
Stocky, and just fucking punching through.
I like Jamal Anderson. I like Michael Turner.
Yeah.
I like Darren Sproles. I like those fucking
running down
guys.
Their throat.
Those are my guys. You know, I like Marshawn Lynch. Like those are my fucking running backs, you know?
Yeah.
Darren Sproles because we're the same height, you know?
So. Sure, yeah. And I mean, like, you know, I fucking hated him with the Saints because he would whip our ass a lot. But great player, though. Great player. Absolutely.
Great player, dude.
Yeah, I mean, but losing Algier next year, it's like we do have to replace that. And can I say something about Bijan? Can I say something that I feel like nobody's saying? This might be a hot take, but I'm getting fucking tired of the fucking jukes, dude. I'm getting tired of the cuts.
That's literally what I was just saying.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of that shit. Like, it's like, dude, you are losing yardage by doing that so much.
If you're that good of a running back, run through the motherfucker.
Yeah,
truck them.
I know he can do it.
Over.
He's a fucking beast.
Put your hand on their chest and push them the fuck down and keep running.
Right.
And you know who does that? Tyler Algier.
Absolutely.
Tyler Algier. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Two completely different styles of running back. But if you're talking about good and you're talking about like how good they are as players, they are just as good as each other. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier are the exact same level of running back in my head. They just have completely different running styles. And I like Algier more. I said it publicly. I like Tyler
I'm not going to go that
more
far.
Than I like Bijan Robinson.
I'm not going to go that far because I do personally believe that Bijan is the more talented back. And I think most people would say that. But as far as like,
you put Tyler Algier in a program where Tyler Algier is RB1, where he's the starting running back, where he gets all the play time he needed. Because if he had as many snaps as Bijan Robinson, he would have the same numbers as Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, put Tyler Algier on the Bears with an offensive line like that.
Absolutely, dude.
He'd be a monster.
Absolutely.
He'd be a fucking monster.
Absolutely. But they don't have to because they have DeAndre Swift, who is fucking incredible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They don't need him. But I'm just saying, like, put him on a team that has an offensive line like that. And
once again, DeAndre Swift, that's my style of running back. That's my style.
He's fucking
Run
great.
Up through a motherfucker.
He's fucking great.
Because I need that guy. I need that guy who, when it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 5 even, I can give you the ball and you're going to get it. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a first down. And then every now and then you're going to go on a 30-yard run for a touchdown, for a house call. I don't need somebody who gets stuffed at 3rd and 10 5 out of 10 times, but every now and then can do an 80-yard touchdown. I don't fucking need that. That's not winning me games.
Well, he only did it once.
I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things.
But some people I feel like they're like, no, but he can do that. It's like, yeah, he can, but he's not necessarily, he's not Jonathan Taylor, like Jonathan Taylor he can do that to you a lot,
Jonathan Taylor is a once in a lifetime running back, but also I'm starting to see that this might be the only season that Jonathan Taylor does that. It might be the only season he has that's like this.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, they're going to be relying on him a lot for the rest of the season, and I think that's going to hurt them because they're going to become predictable. The Colts.
They already have.
Yeah, right. So
already have.
Yeah, I mean, and then let's talk about this draft and
but it's in the same way that the Lions have become predictable. But the only thing about the Lions is the Lions have 2 weapons, whereas the Colts only have 1.
Right. Yeah, all they can do right now is hand the ball off, depending on the ghost of Phillip Rivers or whoever fucking comes out next week. We'll see. Whoever comes out. But dude, I mean, with this regime right now, and I've been saying all season, we got to clean house. You got to. I mean, Terry Fontenot with this last draft, I do feel like he did good. He did good. I love the defensive guys that we got. Jalen Walker's been great. James Pierce is the best. Put it this way. So we traded that pick to get Xavier Watts, who is the best safety, rookie safety, and one of the best safeties in the league right now. He leads all rookies with 3 interceptions. He's actually, his numbers next to Jesse Bates are very similar, but a little bit better. I think the only thing that Jesse Bates has done that's been better than Xavier Watts is tackles, which I think says a little bit more about why the opposing offense is getting up to Jesse Bates that much. But I also think that Jesse Bates is playing a little bit of a different role this year. But so you made that trade and we lose that pick that, we're crying about now. And yes, I do miss that pick, but let's say we spent that to get James Pierce, who is the best pass rusher that came out of this draft. So, and Jalen Walker, who's, probably the other best pass rusher that came out of this draft. So, what we say every year, when we're going into the draft, we want a pass rusher. So they got 2 of them, and I feel like we can stop saying that. So that's good.
Every year I say we're going to the Super Bowl. So
yeah, well, I do for a moment, and then it inevitably gets to this point, and for this fan base and for the players too, man, they're letting everyone down by keeping these coaches around, and you're seeing it with the players. That second half, they didn't give a fuck, man. They didn't care. None of them, and it's I don't blame them because the fans don't care either. Something has to be done. And
I really don't. It's getting to the point where
it's hard for me to watch. I almost don't care.
Dude, I didn't watch half this game. Once Seahawks started taking it away, I turned the game off. I'm sorry.
Right. What's there to talk about?
That, but I turned the game off. It's getting to that point in my life. I turned the game off.
Yep. And it's one of those games where I was going to go to the game, but I had something pop up with my family. And I'm just I don't feel bad about missing that at all. If that's what you guys were going to show me, all the trouble I go through to fucking go.
You invited me to that game, and I was like, well, I guess I could request off, and I could, because I had to work, and I was like, I could request off, I could get my shift covered, but then I was like, no, not this year, not this season.
Yeah, for what? Yeah, and it's with me, it's all right, I'm going to, go get on the train, hungover as fuck, I will for a good team. I will to go watch my guys fucking, put up a fight. But, I have no remorse for missing that one. None at all.
And now, you and I are talking about going to the Saints game, and it's do I really want to go? Because
that would be fun though, because both teams suck.
But now
and
all I can imagine,
you gotta go,
is
dude.
Getting drunk off of those fucking $5 beers they have at Mercedes-Benz.
Yes.
And then riding in the train back to your car, fucking with a warm buzz going on, hearing a bunch of screaming New Orleans fans around me because they just beat the Falcons in Atlanta. That's what I'm envisioning happening.
I've lived it many a time, man. Many a time. But
I know you haven't. And right now, I'm not in the fucking mood for it.
Oh, I hear you, man. I hear you. I'm definitely going to go to that game. I hope you do. We definitely need to make a ATOWN rundown appearance at Mercedes-Benz. Maybe we can, maybe we can give them some luck, but it's going to be a game that I think that game will be interesting because both teams will have nothing to play for. They've both been eliminated at this point. Both of them had fucking terrible seasons.
The Saints actually can tank and get a good pick, so they actually might lose on purpose.
I don't see them doing that against us, though. There's just something about that game. Everything, all the noise around the season is gone when they play each other.
But that's where it gets scary, is when you look at the grand scheme of things. We keep getting to where we've kept having these seasons where we played bad but not bad enough for, high round picks, and then we trade away our pick, but our number one nemesis, our number one Saints, they didn't do all that, so they can still get good draft picks. They can still become a good team in the draft and on offseason. They're not in cap hell like we are. They didn't spend all this money on Kirk Cousins like we did. And it just sucks when you look at that. The Saints have the ability to become a better team next year than we do.
Yeah, I mean, we talked earlier this year about like the trouble watch and like how that works, and it's like trouble watch means that you're in danger of missing the playoffs, right? And then you've got, they're just bad. Okay, so the Saints are just bad, and the Jets are just bad. The Falcons are in absolute motherfucking hell. I mean, the franchise is in hell. Everything's got to go, man. Like, everything's got to go. But and
they have been since about 2016.
Or let's say 2018. Yeah, 2018. Because 2017, we still, we almost beat the Eagles to go to the NFC Championship. But yeah, since then, it's been hell. Ever since Julio left, really, is when it's kind of fucking sucked. Whenever the Shannon Sharp thing, when Shannon Sharp called him on the Skip Bayless Undisputed, and
man,
Julio,
I just want to win.
Yeah, he was just like,
win.
No, his first thing, he was like, and he didn't even know that he was on live TV. And it's so fucked up that Shannon Sharp did this, especially to a fellow NFL player. Like, come on, dude, why would you do this to him? Because I remember my heart sank when I saw that clip where he was just like, Julio, you gonna stay in Atlanta? And he goes, man, I'm out of there. That's like the first thing he said when he talked to him. I was just like, fuck, that's really where this all started.
You want to know what's crazy? Is I ran into Julio Jones
in
person.
No shit.
Like after that happened. So this is the craziest thing in the world. And this is a weird story, and I'm not trying to get weird and emotional and sentimental. So my wife's grandmother, God rest her soul, was in the hospital, pretty much on her deathbed at this point. So we go to the hospital, and as we're walking, and Carter, my son, was a baby at this point. I think he was like 3 or 4 years old. We're all three walking into the hospital. As we're walking into the hospital, Julio Jones is walking out of the hospital.
Holy shit.
His whole family's there and everything. And I didn't notice him at first, but this is when Julio Jones had that little rat tail braid at the bottom. So I just see a big ass dude walk by me, and I look and I see the rat tail, and then I see the nurses at reception. They're like laughing and giggling, and I'm like, was that Julio Jones? They're like, yeah, that was Julio Jones. He's
Holy
here because like his cousin or someone was in the hospital. And then me, my wife, and Carter go into the elevator, and there's this like little kid. There's this little kid in the elevator, and I'm like, yo, dude, I just saw Julio Jones. He just walked by. And the kid looked at me like I was a fucking moron. He looked at me. He's like, yeah, that's my uncle. I'm going to get him out of the car right now. And then the elevator doors open, and he runs out the fucking elevator.
Holy shit.
But then we go up, and we see my wife's grandmother. So the last time we ever saw my wife's grandmother was the first time I ran into Julio Jones in public at the same moment.
Damn, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little highlight for a terrible situation. But
yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, if my grandma was dying and Julio Jones was there with me, I'd feel a little bit better about it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so God rest her soul. Grandma April. Yep. She was great.
Rest in peace. But yeah, man.
But
we are in hell, and I don't think that it's going to be years before we get back, man. And look, if I'm wrong, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun if we expect the Falcons to fucking suck the next 3 years, and one of these years, like, they actually, like the Colts, like no one expected them to be good. I've said this before. The worst place to be as a sports fan is your team looks so good on paper, and you're like, hell yeah, we're going to fucking run it this year, and then they suck. But the best place to be is when you're like, we're just going to figure it out this year. Check, we got some new young players, but there's no way we're going to win anything. And then all of a sudden they're kicking ass, a la the Patriots this year.
Yep.
Who saw that coming? The Broncos.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Patriots and the Broncos have both been in hell for the last couple of seasons, and look at them now. Look how it paid off.
Right.
There's a long-term thing. You make the right coaching calls. You make the right coaching adjustments. Then you make the right trades. You make the right signings. You make the right draft picks, and all of a sudden you're 11-2 and ahead of your fucking division.
Yeah. Coming up on Christmas. That's what you want. You want 11 wins.
And
you want 11 wins. You can end the season with 11 wins, man. Like, I'd be so happy about that.
Though my Atlanta heart would have hated it. But looking back, maybe we should have hired Sean Payton when he was up for grabs. Maybe
I just don't.
Could have did a couple of years ago.
Sure. I think Sean Payton's a great coach. I mean, that would be.
I don't
weird.
think it would have worked with the culture. I think Atlanta would have had a shitstorm over it. But look what he's doing in Denver. Look at him. Look at it, dude. And on top of that, he did win a Super Bowl in New Orleans. As much as it pains me to admit,
had a lot of good teams in New Orleans. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like even the ones where they didn't win a Super Bowl, they were kicking ass. I mean, they, I remember when they were going head to head with Brett Favre and the Vikings and shit. And like they were kind of always. Yeah.
And as much as it pains me, like Drew Brees, generational talent. And when you look at it, Drew Brees at the Saints had a lot to do with coaching. Yeah. Had a lot to do with coaching because Saints Drew Brees was not the same Chargers Drew Brees. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it takes coaching. It takes a lot of formulating, And so like Sean Payton is a fucking Hall of Fame coach. He truly is. He's that good.
Speaking of, we're talking coaches. Mike McDonald, the head coach of the Seahawks. That's another guy that we interviewed.
Could have had. Look at him now.
Raheem, he sold it to us.
Is it funny that it's been the same song and dance all season? Literally every single coach we fucking interviewed, the Bears, the Patriots, the Chargers, the fucking who else did we interview? Who'd you just say?
Seahawks.
Fucking Seahawks. Mm-hmm. All of them are leading their division damn near, or they're close to it. Yeah. And we didn't hire any of those guys.
No, and during that coaching process, it's like the only ones that you really heard anything about were Raheem being a front runner, and then we had that whole thing with Bill Belichick.
And Bill Belichick.
But you never heard about like Harbaugh, having a great interview and that they're feeling
is
good.
9-4 right now.
Yep.
McDonald is 10-3 right now.
I think so. Yeah.
And Patriots are 11-2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Bears are
Ben
what
Johnson.
Did we say? 9-4.
Yep, they're 9-4. Yeah, Seahawks are 10-3. Yes, yeah, man. This is
come on.
It's embarrassing, and it's like we really are like the laughing stock of the fucking league, man. And like
the thing
let me ask you this:
you look at those teams before those head coaches. Sorry to cut you off once again.
I got to remember what I was going to say because I want to know what your answer is.
But when you look at those teams, all those teams were not great until these coaches came along, and these were all coaches that we passed on.
Yep, every single one. It's just like that draft with Kyle Pitts. You could throw a fucking dart at a list of names that we interviewed, and you would have hit. But you willingly chose Raheem Morris. Now, I have a question for you. And this is something that I asked my buddy last night at the work Christmas party. And is there another franchise that you feel like being a fan of would be worse than the Falcons right now? Is there one? It's not the Browns. I don't think it's the Browns. At least they got Shedeur. They got something to look forward to.
Okay.
They got draft picks.
In terms of that, I think every team in the NFL except for us have something to look forward to.
We don't, because Michael Penix is not playing most of next year. Period.
Even the Jets,
and he wasn't even that good.
To.
I've almost feel like and the Jets have something to look forward to. They got 2 first-round picks for trading Sauce Gardner, which was fucking brilliant. And like now they're tanking.
We're in that scenario, which I thought would be unfathomable. But the Browns and the Jets have more to look forward to next season than the fucking Falcons do.
I mean, maybe you could say the Titans. I mean, like Cam Ward, is he exciting to anybody? Not saying he never will be, but like that team's got a lot of fucking issues. The Raiders, maybe. The Raiders are really fucking bad right now, and I'm not sure what their future is.
The Raiders are a weird thing to me because I feel like the Raiders are more of a cult than a football team. A fan base. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, I don't think there's anything you can do to a Raiders fan to make them not be a Raiders fan. It's wild.
Which is so weird. Like, yeah, you do meet like passionate Raider fans, but they've moved cities like so many times in our lifetime. Yeah.
Dude, when I was a kid, they were Oakland, then they were LA, then they were Oakland again, then they were Los Angeles again, then they were Oakland again, and now they're in Vegas.
Right. Yeah, the Las Vegas Raiders, which is fucking weird to me. But, dude, that reminds me of a quick story. Like, there was one of the Arthur Smith years, first week of the season. I'm on the train and wearing my jersey, and people are getting on the train wearing jerseys. And there's one fucking asshole who's just like on the phone, who's, obviously a transplant. And he's like, man, I'm on the train, and, Falcons are playing today and nobody's excited. He's like, when the Raiders play, everybody's all excited, Raider Nation, and everybody's chanting all this stuff. I'm like, don't you guys move cities every fucking 5 years? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Which city are you from? Are you from?
Which one of those cities?
Yeah. Which one are you from? Are you from LA? Are you from Oakland?
I'm actually from Mississippi.
Which one are you talking about?
So shut the fuck up, dude. You should be a Saints fan then.
Dude, the thing is, like, my cousin, her boyfriend, who she's been with for like fucking 15 years now. Love you, Jenny. But her fucking boyfriend is from Hinesville, Georgia, and he's a 49ers fan and a Notre Dame fan. It's like, where the fuck did you come up with that?
Dude, I know a guy who's a
New York diehard too, like diehard.
I know a guy who's a New York Giants fan, an Auburn fan, and a Miami Heat fan. But he's different. Like, he was born in New York, he went to Auburn, and then I think when he was in the military, he got stationed in Miami. So I
mean, that's kind of cool. But you know what?
So for him, it's like, okay, like, at least you can explain it to me.
But me, like, I'm a Braves fan, I'm a Hawks fan, I'm a Falcons fan, and I'm a Georgia Tech fan. You know why? Because I'm from the city of Atlanta, and where do all those teams play for? The city of fucking Atlanta, dude. I'm sorry.
I will say my only team that's not geographical to me is I do like Kentucky Wildcats, because when it comes to college basketball, my mom is a huge Kentucky fan. She lived in Kentucky a long time in her life. So, that one's a little bit different. In college, I feel like you can pick, but I can't stand a fan that's from Atlanta that like loves the Lakers.
My SEC team is the Carolina Gamecocks, because my grandfather played for Carolina, but it's not like my dad's half of the family. They all live in South Carolina. Most of them went to the University of South Carolina. My grandfather back in the 60s played for the University of South Carolina.
Nice.
So that's why I'm not just picking a random team. Yeah. It's like, well, if I'm not cheering for Georgia Tech, where I'm from, I'm going to cheer where my family's from.
Funny Gamecocks story. I cheered for the Gamecocks for a little bit, 15 years ago or something. You remember the NCAA football games?
Yeah.
That they just started making again. But like, so with all my friends, it's like when you play Madden, it's like everyone wants to play as the Falcons. But when you play NCAA football, it's like each one of my friends had like a different team. So I had a friend who was really good with Georgia Tech, and he went to Georgia Tech and everything. And then I have a friend who's been a Notre Dame fan his whole life. Then, a couple dog fans, like when they play, they use the dogs. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to play as Kentucky. But they were so fucking bad that I was just like, all right, this isn't fun. I'm going to play as the Cox. And at the time, I had a guitar player, shout out Ricky Taylor, who was playing in my band, who was a huge Gamecocks fan. He was from Charleston, and he was down here going to music school with me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? I'll play as the Cox. And dude, like, that was, we had a notebook that we would keep the scores of all these games just so we could continue to talk shit. But every time I would just write Cox and then ND, or Cox versus, GT or whatever. I got love for the Gamecocks, man.
See, that's different for me. When I play the NCAA games, I'm playing as the most like obscure, random fucking team, like San Diego State or Mississippi State or Jackson State or fucking UAB. Or
I've got the new NFL, the new NCAA, and I've only played it like when my homies are over here, and I always play as Kentucky. But yeah, you know what? I need to start doing that. I'll play as like James Madison or something. It's, by the way, dude. Shout out to this
playoffs.
I know. Shout out to this playoff committee, man. What the fuck were they thinking? Yeah. Like, who wants to watch Tulane and Old Miss? Yeah, dude. They already played, and Old Miss beat the shit out of them. Like, why did they make it over Notre Dame? That's insane.
All Georgia Tech has is the fucking popcorn or the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yay, Pop-Tart Bowl. Yeah, well, with their season, it's like that second loss that they got was just like you may have been able to make an argument losing to Georgia and then only losing that NC State game, but losing that other one, I even forget who it was.
We lost to Pitt. We got destroyed by Pitt, dude.
Yeah, but it's just like you couldn't lose both of those games. So I understand that, and that really sucks because they had such an exciting season.
My buddy Josh, who's a Georgia Tech alumni, he texted our group chat as soon as we lost to Pitt. He's like, fuck Georgia Tech. I hate college football. I hate everything about this fucking team. Like, was just going off. And I felt every bit of that sentiment with him, dude.
Sure. Yeah. No, it sucks, man. It sucks. But they just gave fucking Brent Key, the head coach, they just gave him a nice extension.
They gave him the key to the city, baby, and I hope he does well with it. Yeah. But we're kind of getting off the rails. You and I will continue this conversation as we always do. Mm-hmm. But the reason we're getting off the rails is because talking about the Falcons is just so mundane.
What's left to say?
I feel like I'm getting to the point where I just can't wait until we get to the playoffs so we don't have to talk about the fucking Falcons anymore. So we don't have to. Once the playoffs are here, this is how it's going to go. Once the playoffs happen, I will not mention the Falcons until they fire Raheem Morris, and that is when I will talk about them again. Once the playoffs are here, I will not utter a word about the Atlanta Falcons until Raheem Morris is not the head coach or we get into next season. And unfortunately, I don't know which one is going to happen first.
Well, here, I'll make this commitment. I'm going to not stop drinking beer until Raheem Morris is fired. And if Arthur Blank doesn't make a move soon, I'm going to die from this. Okay, so ball's in your court, Arthur. You care about me or not? Yeah, do you want me to die, man? I'm a fucking diehard, and I'm a season ticket holder 10 fucking years, man. You want this to happen?
You know what?
To me?
At this point, no. At this point, I can't let Arthur Blank outlive me. I can't. Not with the way he's been doing things.
Well, I'm not giving up on this commitment. I am not going to stop drinking beer.
But anyways, guys, we'll see you guys next week, and we're gonna lead off like we do every week with Thursday Night Football. And guess who happens to be playing Thursday Night Football? The Atlanta Falcons against the Tampa Bay. Oh, I can't wait for this fucking game. Good Lord!
Oh yeah,
give me a Valium and a bottle of vodka. Jesus.
All right, well, who are you picking? Let's just go ahead. Who are you picking?
You know what? I'm gonna go for the Falcons with this.
I'm taking the Falcons.
I'm gonna go for the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm gonna be disappointed, but I'm going for the Falcons.
Well, we'll have the results for you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. You can always find us on YouTube at ATOWN Rundown. Find us on Instagram at ATOWN Rundown. You can search for us on Spotify. You can find us through This, That, and the Other. You can listen to Jeremy's band, Sunmancer, on all streaming platforms. They also have a YouTube. They also have an Instagram. You can find me and Jeremy individually on Instagram, but you're going to have to search for it. I'm not giving you our tags.
Yep.
Anyways.
I don't want you guys following my wife.
I know, dude. My wife's hot. Got to
keep her under wraps. They'll do it.
Yeah, I know. They will. Fucking weirdos, dude.
I know.
Weird people. Anyways, I don't even follow your wife. Anyways, see you guys next week. Take care. Drive safe. Don't drink and drive. Just drink while you're driving. We'll see you.
All right. Rise up. Go Hawks.